Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first institute of impeccable wisdom. Let's discuss our Divyank Chakra, the final 11th chakra of the human body. 10.34419 chakras. And this is the integration of the perfect human being within the self itself. This is the most important thing to be realized to become a perfect human being by and large. Now comes the question to come to this particular level for the first time in the history of mankind to recognize, conceive and reveal Divyank for the first time in the history of mankind from the very beginning till today was only in 2015 after many of the births over and over to start from zero level to come to this level, and I believe that is because of reincarnations which have taken place, and whatever I've learnt in each life, I have carried the benefits and I am able to find that over from Akash Kosh and give it to the world wisdom step by step with the impeccable wisdom unheard till date. And reincarnations are absolutely essential, and that is Antaratma which gets into it from the very beginning, which comes from Sun, and it is Aditi, it is Antaratma, it is also called Kundalini. As I told you, every human being who is going to reach to higher and higher level is born with Aditi, the voice of silence of the soul, of indwelling soul, which comes from Lord Surya. It is made of helium-4 and is the one which gives you the perfection by and large. And no wonder in Vedas it is Aditi is the mother and daughter of Daksha the king, and in Upanishad she is the mother and daughter of Aditya the sun god. And I think these are statements, and every human being in my opinion is born with Aditi. Whether we listen or not listen is up to us, but we are all aware of the difference between truth and untruth, defect and perfection, imperfection and perfection. Everything is within us. Once we in tune with universal consciousness, only then we can be in tune with higher levels of consciousness. Up to this particular thing, every human being is endowed with. Now comes the question of Kundalini. When Atma is sleeping within the Muladhara Chakra, it is in its almost like circular orbital form of 22 by 21. But very moment it arises for ascension to higher and higher levels of consciousness, it is called Kundalini because it's like a kundal spiral going on. And same spirals are seen in human body in Antaratma, also in spiral galaxy. Everything moves like a spiral only. When the energy moves spiral, it goes up. When spirals are lost, it gets solidified. And that is what Panchabhutas, I talked about it. The center is Aditi. It is also the oxygen, Agni Bhuta. Now come to the question, the most important thing which I recognize in this life, like Lord Surya, we should be a disciplined karma yogi only. If karma is based on dharma, truth, earth, kam, moksha, or karma, moksha are ensured automatically provided we follow a dharma. And that is the beauty of Sanatana Dharma. It is perfection way. It is not a religion at all. It is not man-made concept. It is a divine-based concept which is to be recognized. All the man-made religions, whichever religion of the world is sectarian, where the divine is what I am trying to understand and show the world. That is spiritual science. And from that Karma Yoga, and this particular picture of Gita or Katha Upanishads makes a lot of difference, that all the five senses with the control, with Antaratma and Paramatma is what makes you realize the whole thing. And that is the beauty of Vedas and Upanishads. Once you understand the Sanskrit scriptures, only do you understand the whole thing in context. Every other language by and large is not as perfect as Sanskrit. I make it very clear, and based on my own experience, that is the phonetic sound of Ishvara, the God, the production, or Shabda Brahman, Akshar Brahman, or Mantra Brahman. They are the one, Shruti, once you hear, only then you can be a Karma Yogi, because you hear the voice from inside. When Kundalini moves, it gives you how to go about it life very, very clearly. Second thing is bhakti is very important, because whatever we are today is not our own creation, our father, mother, or any individual. Start from mineral kingdom to the plant kingdom to the animal kingdom to the perfect human being is created by nature with a perfect mathematical design. That's what I'm trying to show. And go for to that level. Don't stop sectarian with emotional knowledge of likes and dislikes. Ascend over, and for that bhakti devotion for the creator who created the whole thing. I do not see God as a human being. I see the nature, divine mathematics, divine physics, divine chemistry, divine medical sciences, everything artistic beautifully. Once you realize that, you see, even this picture Om which I put was made by me in 1974, when I was not into spirituality, but I was into the science as such. And the picture of Mata Vaishno Devi, who is my divine mother, because she represents Saraswati, Mahalakshmi and Mahakali, all the three. Also Trikuta, Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh. And all these put together only gave into divine mathematics and other things from the picture which ancient Indian Brahmins had created beautifully with so much of mathematics. And that is what I'm trying to show. Once you understand the divine mathematics, only then you can move on to the higher levels of consciousness. Then come to the question of now, right now I'm passing through the phase of explaining the concept of Tantra as explained by Lord Shiva in Amarnath cave. Now this is 108 sutras of Tantra which nobody has done. I'm trying to show the beauty of that in the light of mathematics and that. And it is talked about the 10 chakras, and I would say 10.344 11 chakra, which I'm talking today of Divyank as a new name. Once these 10.344 chakras are known, only then you become a perfect human being. Otherwise, you cannot become. And Kundalini or Antaratma or Aditi is taking you to this level by and large. And only then you know the perfect anatomy, perfect physiology, perfect biochemistry, and perfect psychology to be perfect human being, come what may be. Now comes the question of chakras. I told you the central zone. There are 10.344 including Divyank, and there are 108 chakras within the human body. Once you realize all that, only then you become a perfect. Chakras move clockwise for energy and anti-clockwise reducing energy. Involution, evolution is there within each chakra, and there is a cycle of 90 minutes which goes on, even breathing, brain and otherwise. Once you understand that science, only then you come to realize the beauty of Divyank. And now come to the question of Muladhara. As I told you, this is the lowest center in the human body where two chains of sympathetic system merge together. Let paravertebral, right, Ida and Pingla merge in Muladhara Chakra, a ganglion empire, as you can see in this picture. Kundalini sleeps there to make your physical body perfectly healthy, wealthy, wise and happy. Even when Kundalini is sleeping, there is giving you subconscious, unconscious, conscious, or superconscious in dream forms, other things. You can still experience the beauty and become a perfect as long as you are not bonded with money, name, fame, which is artificial. You come with nothing, you go with nothing. But use the money for things. Without money, you are dead. But you should have the value of money, use it perfectly. Misuse and disuse of money is equally bad. Then come to the question of Brahma Granthi. When Kundalini sleeps in Muladhara Chakra, when it wakes up, it should go into the central canal or Brahma Nadi within the central nervous system and reach the ventricles, breaking this barrier of the nerve fibers. Once Kundalini has the power of that much of energy, it can make the whole thing flow like that. And there is enough space between each thing. You call it dark matter, inert matter, and with that one Kundalini moves into that, you reach the inner consciousness, and that is where the starting of the journey actually starts. So the first Brahma Granthi is the first block in Kundalini. From outside to inside is amazing. Come to the Swadhisthana, I make it again and again. It's the most important center in the human body for procreation. We are born because of parents and grandparents, etc., etc. It's our duty to get married, have a perfect home, which is like a temple of the god, and move on. Mula Granthi is with Bhumi, this is with water, and it is the testosterone which is absolutely essential for muscular body, RBC, hemoglobin, oxygen, intelligence and otherwise. Then Ojas is for physical health and Tejas is for intelligence. Everything centers around testosterone and estrogen only, and I make it both. Even testosterone has to be converted in estradiol through aromatization in male, whereas females are more lucky to get estrogen directly, and as a result they are more dynamic. That's why I make it very clear. Men could be equivalent to 38.1966% of the consciousness. Females are 61.8034. Only when husband and wife put together as Shiv and Shakti come together as a couple, only then both of them become 100 wives, otherwise they are not complete at all. So that way Swadhisthana is the most important part in spiritual evolution itself. Then come to the question of Nabhi. This is a beautiful central adrenal gland. It produces mineralocorticoids for water and electrolyte balance, and also second stage glucocorticoid, cortisone and glucose. Third for testosterone, estrogen by and large, and medulla as is that sympathomimetic catecholamines like adrenaline and noradrenaline for and once this is perfectly normal, only come what may, no accident or other disease can kill you as such. I think that's a beautiful part, and no wonder Ravana could not be killed by Ram at all till he attacked his umbilical cord and adrenal gland. I think this is the most beautiful part. Then come to the question, Manipada is the fourth chakra, which Sat chakra does not talk about it, but is the center of digestion, absorption, assimilation of nutrition, electrolytes and everything, which is absolutely essential for homeostasis. Making sure that your digestion is perfect, whatever you ingest is properly done, and your whole thing comes from the food alone. And I make it very clear. Most of the people are suffering from digestive problems, ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, other thing. Once you are very clear what to eat perfectly and what not to eat, herbs itself will give you all the things required for yourself. You don't need any medicine from outside the world. No alcohol, no drugs at all. They are the problematic by and large. Then comes to the Vishnu Granthi. I have already told Brahma Granthi is from outside to inside. Vishnu Granthi is where Kundalini second block, this is where devotion starts. All yantra, mantra, tantra starts only thereafter. That's a consciousness below the diaphragm is the lower level. This higher level it goes from Vishnu Granthi from lower level to the heart and thereafter. And that's what devotion only takes you to higher and higher, and that is what it is all about. Then come to the question, Anahata Chakra, which is the fifth center, which is about thymus gland. This is the one gives you immunity for cell-mediated immunity as well as antibodies, and person who is purely perfect human being, living only with the good things, in that person thymus will remain potent till the last day of your life and protect you come what may. COVID comes, anything comes, any infection in the world will not touch a person who's centered in Hatha. No wonder many of the people say Anahata is the center of consciousness. This is one part. Second part, when all requirements of the body go to the heart to be circulated, so the heart becomes important part of Anahata Chakra. Second thing, for oxygen required for the body comes from atmosphere through the lungs. That is also with Anahata Chakra only. Once Anahata Chakra is absorption of oxygen, assimilation of whole thing and defense, then lower things will automatically be taken care of. Then come to the Vishuddhi Chakra is the sixth thyroid gland, a parathyroid gland, which was calcium phosphate balance. Only when calcium phosphate combination is perfect according to Divyank, and also the iodine to make thyroid hormone completely. you'll have all the energy required for the self, because heat is absolutely essential for living, and less of heat gives it to solid elements, and too much of heat can also be a problem. Both hypothyroid function and hyperthyroid functions are problematic. Normal function can be left when iodine intake is clear, calcium absorption and phosphate, everything is normal, and that is the beauty of it. Also, Vishuddhi gives you the power of expression beautifully. If you are purified within and you talk, your speak is like divine words. That is Shruti. And only then you can be in tune with the universal consciousness. That's the beauty I found in Sanskrit language. This is a center for detox purification by and large. If you are thinking of becoming a perfect human being, then this center really brings the purity within yourself. Inner purity, outer purity, in every pair. No word Shuddhikaran is most important part. Then come to the question of next Ajna Chakra. I have put Gyan along with it. Lower chakras will give you all the experiences. Then the philosophical things comes up in Ajna Chakra. And that is where pituitary gland comes, anterior and posterior, and the middle one. The one anterior gives you stimulating hormone, posterior gives you oxytocin, ADH, and middle one gives you POMC. I have already explained, because in one thing I am just trying to show how continuous this is. And this is in the brainstem, and this is a beautiful thing, bringing you to philosophical perception by and large. A Gyan to Gyan takes place over there. Then come to the Vigyan Chakra, which is in the hypothalamus, which produces all the releasing hormones required along with oxytocin, ADH, and these are the hormones which produce the other essential hormones within the body, including testosterone and estrogen. And that is the most important part. This is where science starts taking. It's much more analytic. It's a height center for autonomic and endocrine system. Once that is come, you understand the perfect homeostasis very clearly. Then come to the Pragyan Chakra, which is the pineal gland within the ventricles of the brain. Once through Brahmanadi opening, and Aditi gets into the ventricles in front of the pineal gland. So pineal gland remains vibrant throughout your life because it needs a stimulant, and that is direct stimulant itself is Aditi itself. And in such a person, there will not be any deficiency, because all the hormones required for sleep, non-sleep, perception, and including testosterone and other things are controlled in the pineal gland itself. It also gives you Nagmani to give you the experience of the entire universe. Even what normal human beings see, only two-dimensional length and breadth. But once you inside this Kundalini is there, then pineal gland will be able to see all the 10 dimensions simultaneously within the eyes itself. And that's the third eye of Shiva. I think that makes it very, very clear. You have to have a third eye of Shiva to become totally intuitive by and large. I think this is where self-realization actually takes place. Now come to the question of the Akhand Chakra, which is the 10th center. And I say lower right up to Pragyan Chakra, and below that you have autonomic nervous system, endocrine system. But insular cortex has been missed by neuroscientists by and large. They say there are 8 lobes. I said there cannot be 8 lobes, there have to be 10 lobes. And the 2 lobes are insular cortex, and that is central autonomic nervous system. There's higher levels, subconscious, unconscious, conscious to superconscious takes place in insular cortex. That is the picture. You can see the 10 centers. This is the 10th center by and large. And once you realize you have reached step by step to that level of insular cortex, you come to much higher level of understanding and intuition by and large. This is where higher levels start coming up. Then come to the Mahashakti is something which I am sure not everybody experiences it. But someone who has reached that particular level in earlier life would experience the descent of Mahashakti by and large, which is the descent of Adi Prashakti itself. That is the divine force which actually gives you perfect education, enlightenment, and empowerment by and large. And this is where I understand the periodic table very well. There are 18 groups and 7 periods, and Adi Prashakti and Nataraja have that. And she is the mother of Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh, Saraswati, Mahalakshmi, Mahakali. All the creation started only Mahashakti. And once that comes down to you, only when you reach that level you can experience it. Till such time you cannot experience. If you experience also, you cannot benefit. You need a knowledge to reach that level to understand the higher level of consciousness. That's it. Now come to the question of Rudra Granthi is the third block in the Kundalini technique. This is the awareness science of the divine wisdom comes up only when insular cortex moves up to the next stage of three outer layers of neocortex within the human body itself, which people have not even realized. And once the three things are, you are in tune with Akash Kosh, at the same time you will be able to produce 8 Hz alpha frequency in all the 64 parts of the brain, with eyes open, with all the senses open, with awareness. And that is something which is experienced, which no one other than Shiv Bhushan Sharma has demonstrated till today. Only when you reach this level of Rudra Granthi, from lower levels to wisdom, you become a perfect human being by and large. And I have already demonstrated that. Then now they come to the question of Divyank Chakra as such, which is 11th. There are 11 dimensions, not 10 dimensions. And make it very clear, it's a 10.34419, not 11 complete. I have already shown through Divyank rectangle. It is 10.344, and that is what Divyank is all about. So it's the 11th chakra, which is 10.344. And this is a picture which is given. This is a final 11th chakra within the human body, when perfect human being can become the perfect being by and large. Only at that stage you will be able to see the beauty of your inner 100 trillion cells, how elements work, how electrons work, how atoms work, how molecules work, how compounds work, how tissues work, how cells work, how 10 organ systems work, how the 100 trillion cell as a Jivatma work perfectly. You experience it. You also experience the higher consciousness at that particular stage because of Mahagaranthi. So once this happens, only you can go on. And then you realize how perfect is the human being, how perfect is the DNA, how perfect is the human body, how perfect is solar system, how perfect is spiral galaxy, and how perfect is great consciousness. This is what Brahmins of Akhand Bharat wrote in Vedas, Upanishads and scriptures in Sanskrit form. Unfortunately, nobody is able to translate that. I am trying to do my best to explain with my experience in the light of mathematics, physics, chemistry and medical sciences. I think this whole work is totally unique because you have to experience that to move to this particular level. Then come to the spiritual side, the Divyank, the divine design of nature, and exploration is what I am going to explain to you now. First thing, there are 5 elements which are important, which I have to. The next picture was Panch Bhutas, Panch Pranas. Once these are understood, only then you can have a perfect yourself. And how earth element is a square one, how it was designed as that, and what is the percentage I have written in this. Second element is water element, Apabhuta. Prithvi Bhuta, Apabhuta. Apabhuta means crescent and is 61 point. Within these two, water and that, you have the perfect ratio within this earth, the human body as well as cells. And that is a combination. These two are the basic thing which the human being have to realize as a part of elementary nature itself, chemistry by and large, rasayan. Then fire element is oxygen, and Agni Bhuta, that is what? When trunk up it comes, it is Agni Bhuta which comes down, which makes the beauty very clearly. So fire element is oxygen. It is a triangle which is going down or going up. I have already shown. It's an intervening stage. The next more energy will be Vayu. When it's a hexagonal, it is converted of oxygen from the body into carbon dioxide, which is being thrown out. And the next will be Akash Bhuta. This is a pentagon in nature, which symbol has not been given by anybody till date. And I am very sorry to say, Akash was circle, Earth was made this, I have already explained, then crescent shape, then triangle, then hexagonal. But when called the quintessence, Akash Bhuta has been given first single in the history of mankind as a pentagon, and explained what was written in scriptures very clearly. And 5 into 108 is 540, and this again divine mathematics. No wonder Maharishi Yajnavalkya talked of Divyank ratio very indirectly from the pi structure, also using 100, and sun, moon and earth, three have center around 108. No wonder 100 was given. 5 into 108 is 540. 361, 180 is again the beauty of this particular thing. Once you understand that, you can go on to the next stage much more clearly, step by step. Then come to this point. I've already shown this is very important. This is Akash Bhuta being realized for the first time. Then come to the Akhand Rishi, complete person who has the Jivatma is complete. Antaratma is realized. Also Paramatma is realized. That is what Mahashakti I talked about. Shiv and Shakti put together are Mahashakti, Adi Prashakti, Adishwara, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. All the things put together are the one makes you Akhand Rishi and totally encouraged student by and large. Only a good student can do wonders as we move on. Then only they realize the Pindandam Brahman is one. This is statement of the scriptures, Sanskrit scripture. Pindandam, Jivatma and universe are identical. And I have shown that the human body has got 10.344 chakras. Same thing with solar system. Same thing with spiral galaxy. And that is what Aham-Brahmasmi is. So understanding Aham-Brahmasmi, Advaita philosophy, you realize your own self, Jivatma, Antaratma together as one, is what is very clear in this, in Aham-Brahmasmi. Now to come to the question, another statement which comes from Chandogya Upanishad, just 3 letters, Tat Tvamasi. I am very sorry to say, most of the people have translated Tat Tvamasi like Aham-Brahmasmi, I am like a god. It's not true. Tat means divine energy, Tva means everything is identical. All the things which nature designed perfectly from the core part were identical. Human being, everything is identical. The scripture is saying, once you understand the identical central part, only then you can move on to the next stage. And that's where importance of statement is. Everything is identical. Then the question comes, if everything is identical, there should be divine mathematics. And that search for divine mathematics, which is there in Tattva-Amasi, has led me to Kundalini Yoga, to ascension, to spiritual, to Divyank, step by step. It has taken me maybe more than 60 years in this life to realize something which I had realized, but gone to this level much higher for the first time in 2020. Tattva-Amasi took me to Divyank. Now this is a picture of divine design of nature. This is an integrated entity knowledge. In this picture you can see the Divyank, you can see the 10 things, you can see 10 chakras plus everything is there in this. I think that's the most beautiful expression. Both as a mathematician, artist, when everything become identical, then only you realize the divine consciousness is a great artist in the world, is nature itself. And I still remember the song, Yehi Chitrakar hai, Yehi Vyang, sab kuch janta hai. And knowing that, only you realize the whole world through mathematics and symbolic language. In that perception, even Sanskrit becomes deficient, because there are certain inaccuracy and ambiguity in Sanskrit too, like any other language. Maybe less, but it's still there. But divine mathematics and artist has no ambiguity of any nature, no deficiency, and I'm translating everything to divine mathematics. Divyank, 22 by 21 to the power of 10.3 equivalent to 1.618034 as mathematics, and this symbolic represents, only then you have a complete consistency in understanding concept very, very clearly. Then this is a picture which I have shown the whole thing in the beginning in this. The dot is equal to 1 by 21 part, and circle is 21 to 21 part, and the outer one is 22 by 21 is first stage. And then you can see the 10 stages of Vishnu avatar and 5 of Shiva. Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, all the three and symbolically represented. 22, 21 is the orbit. 10 stages of power of 10, you can see 10 pentagons, and inside you can see 5 tetragons which represent 10, 3, 4, 4, 4. This is most beautiful language, come what may be. And once that is understood, I think we can move on to the next stage much better in the process. Now, because I have understood the whole concept very clearly, I realize what I have done in earlier life or somebody else had done earlier life, I am able to show. This is a particular stone image was dug from the site where Ayodhya temple is made. Nobody could explain the beauty of it. That I have shown. There is a central one which is like a dot from which everything attached. From dot to one is the center, is the Surya and Earth, and then you have 7 layers of Surya and Earth. Then it is 13 is 5 plus 8 is a Fibonacci number. Then 29 is 3 plus 5 plus 8 and 13 is 29. This is moon calendar. And entire divine mathematics is so beautifully put into this. It is not an ordinary symbol, stone image. It's the most wonderful thing created 5,000 years ago. I do believe it is Maharishi Yajnavalkya had done that, who was expert in divine mathematics. He is the one who talked about pi and gave the structure, and everything is done by him as the greatest mathematician who appeared beyond the Vedas and Upanishads into form is Maharishi, and that is what he has explained that in symbolic form here. And I credit him. Having seen that, I think I am able to show once you reach that level of universal consciousness that you become one with all the Brahmins who are done. So I don't have to be incarnation of Maharishi Yajnavalkya, other great mathematicians and other things. We are all identical at that stage because we speak the same thing language, because we are in tune with universal consciousness. And that is what is required to have the perfect education in divine mathematics, divine physics, divine chemistry and divine medical sciences to core with. I am not concerned with other subject. 4 concerns which make the core value very well, that has to be done. Only if that is done, rest of things will automatically become perfectly fine. Now comes to the question. Shri Gayatri, the second thing is the Divine Mother, which speaks about the 5 heads. You can see. In this particular picture, you can see the lotus as the Brahma, 10 hands as a Vishnu, and 5 heads as this. So both Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh can be seen in this particular picture itself, and that made me realize how beautiful is the divine symbolic language. These are not the idols without significant divine mathematics. Everything is, and you can see Surya, you can see all the things. This one picture amazes me, and that was how to realize the beauty of Gayatri Mantra, Gayatri symbolism, the Tatri symbolism. I think is phenomenal, that people should understand that the most beautiful language in the world is the symbols of gods and goddesses of Sanatana Dharma only. They are full of science. They are not imagination of the world. There are many artists who have played with it. I'm not talking about, I'm talking about the one which is perfect. Now, this particular thing is the Akhand Vidya is the one, is the mathematical design which is saying exploration. I've already explained that. Now comes from this particular picture to understand the divine mathematics. How did I perceive? Because all the things people talk about, Fibonacci never, the golden ratio to other things are defective. They don't even know the most approximate value of the golden ratio itself. 1.618 is right, or 1.618033977 is right. Both are defective. The perfect I realized by making Divyank rectangle, and picture I made, I realized that 100 into 161.80 is a perfect divine rectangle, and that is a perfect divine mathematics of 61.803% and 38 male and female put together. That's a perfect value done for the first time after 2014 and 15 by Shiv Bhushan Sharma. And once you realize that, you come to the stage which has never been done beforehand. No wonder now reaching the level which brings the clarity much better, because today's technology is very good, equipments are very good, we can do wonders with those equipment. But unless until we have the softwares to support, unfortunately, hardwares are good, softwares are defective. AI and other things are man-made defective. That is confusing whole world. You don't get. Now we are creating a new concept. You'll have only something for the entire universe, or all the education from school, college, university, and research and publication will center only on Divyank, nothing other than that. This is how I developed how 20 by 21 goes to 10 points. These stages And I think that realize the beauty of this is the divine mathematics and can be symbolically represented beautifully. This was done before 2002 in my book An Akhand and Essence of Universal Consciousness. As a matter of fact, 22 by 21 to the power of 10 was realized by me and published in my name in book Akhand and Essence of Universal Consciousness, which was published in 2002 itself. But I know to realize 0.344, I had to wait for another 12 years 13 years to come to that stage, but it's worth because everything is realized step by step. Once you experience the beauty or divinity all round, I think that makes it. That's maybe coming back to Chettinad University to teach anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, psychology to all my students. I think I realize the perfection is there within us and we can move on very, very well. Then another beautiful thing I realized, there are only 7 days and only 7 planets, and I've explained why there's only 7 planets. There's uniformity throughout the world. These are the 7: Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, as such. And all the planets which are there, I think that was realization, that kind of uniform knowledge which astronomy has given to the east, west, north or south uniformly. And I think we should bring astronomy to that level of consistency, because these are the only 7 things which every human being on the earth can see them moving. Nothing else is seen in moving. So knowledge comes from that. So 7 days, 7 things is centered on that alone. Now this is something which I have shown. Sunday is with sun, Monday is with moon, Tuesday is Mars, Wednesday is with Mercury, Thursday with Jupiter, Friday is Venus, Saturday is Saturn. These are the only 7 planets. I think that's the most beautiful thing which I am trying to show. Why these 7 are very, very important. They are not 7 chakras, they are 7 days. But we should know how things are. Then how I realize the beauty of 1 by 7 is 0.142857 only, not anything other than that. That's why I showed even Fibonacci pi is not 3.142857 only, not the other numbers which are given. I think I've counted that again, and this made me realize how beautiful is the structure. But in this particular thing, 1, 4, 2, 8, 5, 7 to 1 is connected, 3, 6 and 9 are not there. Why not that? I am going to show you the next one. Next one I showed, because 3, 6 and 9 represent the male triangle as such, and male triangle is going to give you to evolution level. No wonder West only recognize the male as a god, not as a female. They see this as enneagram and they are stuck there only. When come to Sanatana Dharma, they realize without female triangle nothing is worked. So what was 9 and 10 has become 10, 11, 12, and you can even call it 13. Once you come to that particular stage, you realize the universal consciousness as such. Entire astronomy is understood by me much better with this than I have understood by everything. And this is how I moved. And I call this as Divyank Chakra. And that was said, you have made me understand the ancient picture of Gayatri, made me semi-animate film. Now this is totally inanimate mathematical design, and once that kind of knowledge is given by Aditi or Kundalini-Antaratma to me, then mean I have it within me to get all the answers directly within myself. And that is what, having answered the question, asked the question to my Antaratma, and she has given me the answers beautifully, and I'm sharing only that with the perfection to the core from A to Z on every subject. Divine mathematics, physics, chemistry and medical science. Rest of the things don't matter much to me. Then Akhand Brahman is something which I realized particular pi is 3.142857. That is structure from pole star to the center of the sun is the Akhand Brahman, and that is like a pi. That is also Om. But same thing in Shivling form is also the same thing. From pole star to this goes up. That's the first divine energy which is universally connecting the whole thing. Once you realize that, you can, and I have experienced that I can go around myself keeping this in mind for almost 268 times around me and experience the entire universe within me. Having done that, I think I've realized that how beautiful it is. We can do that beautifully. Then I also shown the verses. The particular picture in this of Neelkant is what iodine, uptake of iodine by thyroid gland to produce thyroxine and give it to the world of knowledge which modern scientists has failed to give it. Modern scientists say thyroid gland is BMR, ATP, calorigenic, diabetogenic. Is not true. Thyroid hormone is thermogenic, produces heat, and Lord Shiva needs heat to be in Kailash, because when you have the perfect thyroid hormone, you will not feel the cold in winter and heat in the summer. You are protected by the aura around that, and that aura gives you to of understanding, so-called quintessence are Akash Bhuta. Once Akash Bhuta is your intuition, you will be comfortable come what may. Then come to this particular stage, I think I have explained the A to Z by and large. A to Z of the entire universe which is required for divine mathematics, physics, chemistry and other thing is there. And this is where more or less we are coming to the end of Tantra Vidya. The next stage is left for only Sahasrara Chakra, and I am going to talk about Sahasrara as I've experienced. And you are going to see the beauty which is slightly different from what others have. So I have talked about 11 chakras right up to Divyank. Next chakra I am going to talk about Sahasrara Chakra and show it is not 1000 petals, it is 1024 petals. Why 1024 petals? What exactly it is? How it moves in mathematics, where a whole entire mathematical design of binary is related there. And that is a new mathematics which I think people should understand. When they understand inner consciousness, by and large, you're going to see that beauty in the next and Sahasrara Chakra as 1024. Not less, not more. I think let's wait and see. So thank you very much. All the best.